I'm Sophie.
And I'm Zach, and this is the 7th lesson, and welcome to class. For today's topic is World Languages for General English B1.
მოგესალმებით. კეთილი იყოს თქვენი დაბრუნება ჩვენს ტელესკოლაში. მე სოფო ვარ, ეს კი ზაკია. დღევანდელი ჩვენი გაკვეთილის თემა მსოფლიო ენები. თქვენ უყურებთ ზოგად ინგლისურს დონე B1.
And for today's agenda, of course, we start with the vocabulary, and then we roll right along to the reading comprehension. And right in the middle, we have the grammar, and lastly, we have the summing up and homework, our favorite part.
ვიდრე უშუალოდ გაკვეთილზე გადავიდოდეთ, მოდით ერთად ვნახოთ დღევანდელი დღის გეგმა. დღევანდელ დღეს დავიწყებთ ლექსიკის შესწავლით, ამის შემდეგ წავიკითხავთ ტექსტს, ამას მოჰყვება გრამატიკული სავარჯიშოები, შემდეგ როგორც ყოველთვის ერთად შევაჯამებთ დღევანდელ გაკვეთილს და დაგემშვიდობებით საშინაო დავალებით. Shall we start?
Let's start.
Zach, how many languages do you speak?
Oh, I speak a few. So
Okay.
I studied German and Norwegian, and of course I know English, and now I'm learning Georgian because I'm in Georgia.
Oh, that's great.
How about you?
Well, I also speak a few. I speak Georgian because it's my mother tongue. I also speak English, surprising, I know. I used to study French. I speak Russian, and I also used to study a little bit of Spanish.
Oh.
Very little.
So many.
Right.
So, for today, our vocabulary is a little different than usual. So, we will find the nationalities and languages for the given countries. So first, we have the country, then we have the nationality, and then the languages of that country.
დღევანდელი ჩვენი გაკვეთილის ლექსიკა ოდნავ განსხვავებული იქნება. დღეს ჩვენ შევისწავლით ქვეყნებს, ეროვნებებს და ენებს. თქვენს წინაშე მოცემულია ქვეყნები, ჩვენ ერთად უნდა ვიპოვოთ მოცემული ეროვნებები და ენები. Shall we start?
Let's start. So, our first country we have is Brazil. And so, Sophie, what do you think the nationality of Brazil is?
I think I know this one. For Brazil, we have Brazilian. And the language is the most important and interesting part in here, right? Because the language Brazilian people speak is not Brazilian at all. It's Portuguese.
It's definitely Portuguese. Awesome. And our next country is Austria. And what do you think the nationality of Austria is?
Definitely not Australian. It's Austrian. And the language they speak must be German.
Totally right. Great job.
And the next we have Japan. And the nationality will be...
It should be Japanese. This is an easy one.
Very true. And the language?
Oh, it's also Japanese.
Japan, Japanese, Japanese. And the next one is a bit difficult. It's Netherlands. And nationality is...
It is Dutch.
Yes. And the language is...
And it's also Dutch language.
Very good. Our next country is Switzerland. The nationality for Switzerland will be...
It should be Swiss.
And language or languages, should I say?
Oh, they have 4 official languages. They have Romansh, they have German, they have French, and they have Italian.
Very true.
And the next country we have is Canada. And what do you think the nationality is there?
I think it's Canadian.
It's Canadian.
And as for the languages, they also have more than one. They have English and French.
They definitely do.
Yes. And the last one is Egypt. And the nationality would be...
Egyptian.
And the language?
And the language is Arabic, not Egyptian.
Definitely not.
So now we have our vocabulary section. And these are the vocabulary words that we are going to talk about in today's lesson.
თქვენს წინაშე მოცემულია ლექსიკური ერთეულები, რომელსაც ერთად შევისწავლით დღევანდელ გაკვეთილზე.
So our first word is a noun, and it is mother tongue. And mother tongue is your first language that you grow up with.
Zach, what is your mother tongue?
Oh, my mother tongue is English.
And mine is Georgian. Mother tongue in Georgian means mშობლიური ენა. Mother tongue, მშობლიური ენა. Mother tongue, მშობლიური ენა. Mother tongue, მშობლიური ენა. Our next word is foreign language. Foreign language is a noun, and in English it means...
And a foreign language in English is a non-official language of your country.
So can we say that you speak many foreign languages, Zach?
Sure.
It was French, it was...
It was German, it was Norwegian, and Georgian.
Very true. So foreign language in Georgian means utscho ena. Foreign language, utscho ena. Foreign language, utscho ena. Foreign language, utscho ena.
And our next word is dialect, and it is a noun, and in English, it is a different form of a language that is used in different regions or places.
Dialect in Georgian means dialekti. Dialect, dialekti. Dialect, dialekti. Dialect, dialekti.
And next we have accent, and it is a noun, and in English, it is when you speak your language or a certain language in a particular way or with certain pronunciations.
So, Zach, can we say that you have American accent because you're from US, right?
Yeah.
And there we can also say that there is a British accent, Australian accent, and so on and so forth,
Totally,
right?
yes.
Accent in Georgian means akcenti. Accent, akcenti, accent, akcenti, accent, akcenti.
And next we have pronunciation, which is a noun, and in English, it means the way that you say a certain word or a sentence in a language.
Pronunciation in Georgian means წარმოთქმა. Pronunciation, წარმოთქმა. Pronunciation, წარმოთქმა. Pronunciation, წარმოთქმა. Our next word is fluency. Fluency in Georgian means enis srulყოფილად ფლობა. Fluency, enis srulყოფილად ფლობა. Fluency, enis srulყოფილად ფლობა. Fluency, enis srulყოფილად ფლობა.
So now let's move on to our first vocabulary activity where we will choose the correct answer.
ახლა კი გადავიდეთ ლექსიკის პირველ დავალებაზე. ამ დავალებისთვის ჩვენ ერთად ავირჩევთ სწორ პასუხებს.
So number 1, Sophie, the main language that you learn when you are a child is your, what do you think it is?
I think we already discussed this one when we said that my main language is Georgian and yours was English. So I think that the answer here would be mother tongue, not a dialect.
You're totally right. Great job. And number 2, a way of saying words that shows what country, region, or social class someone comes from is called?
I think it's the way we speak, the way we pronounce certain words, or the words that we use. It's probably the accent.
Yeah, it's definitely the accent. Great job.
And our next sentence is the ability to speak a language very well.
Oh, I know. I speak English fluently, so it should be fluency.
You're absolutely right. The right answer is fluency.
And next, number 4, Sophie. George speaks many. What do you think he speaks many of?
For this one, we should choose foreign languages.
Yeah, good. And next, it is difficult to learn the blank of certain Georgian words. What do you think that could be?
I think that's definitely pronunciation. You should know more about this.
I have a lot of problem with the pronunciation.
And our last sentence is English is a for many people born in England. So we have two choices, mother tongue or pronunciation again. So what do you think?
And of course, your mother tongue is Georgian and mine is English, so it is mother tongue.
Definitely, mother tongue is the right choice. So, Zach, what language would you like to learn in the future?
Ooh, there's many. I really want to learn Spanish.
Okay.
And maybe French as well.
Yeah,
eventually.
it's a very nice language to learn.
How about you?
Well, since I already know a little bit of French, I would like to learn it properly, so I'm fluent in it.
Fair enough, yeah. So let's move on to the reading comprehension. And we have a couple of texts for you about languages in general.
ახლა კი გადავიდეთ წაკითხulis გააზრებაზე.
So the first one is called a language biography. So her name is Anna and she is from Georgia. Apart from Georgian, Anna speaks English. She was 6 years old when she first started learning this language. She started with listening to and singing lots of songs in English. She also read a lot of English stories and played some games in English. That time she did not practice grammar much. Now she's concentrated on vocabulary and speaking activities more. Now she is already a secondary school student. She started learning grammar, which helps her speak more accurately. She also studies vocabulary by creating a list, finding definitions, and creating stories using new words. Anna tries to increase her vocabulary by reading books in English.
Anna has got a lot of homework that she does outside of school. She's often asked to read and write a summary of different stories. Anna likes watching English language TV programs. When she was 10 years old, she went to London for a holiday. When she was there, she made a lot of friends who helped her improve her accent. Anna wants to travel to the UK more. She enjoys learning English very much. Of course, she does not have fluency in speaking English language yet, as it is not her mother tongue, and she needs to improve her pronunciation, but she is trying her best to sound like a native speaker.
So now let's move on to our reading comprehension exercise. So answer the questions based on the text.
ახლა კი გადავიდეთ წაკითხulis გააზრების დავალებაზე. ჩვენ თქვენს წინაშე მოცემული კითხვები, რომელსაც ერთად უნდა უპასუხოთ. And our very first question is, what does Anna do to increase her vocabulary in English?
So I know that Anna likes to study vocabulary and then make stories using the vocabulary from this list. And she also reads many books in English.
Okay. Thank you very much, Zach. And our next question is, where did Anna go when she was 10 years old?
So she went to London for a holiday when she was 10 years old.
A great memory. And the next question, what helped her to improve her accent?
So when she was there, she made a lot of good friends in London, and they helped her improve her English.
Very good. And our next question, how did she start learning English?
Well, she started listening and singing lots of songs in English.
That's a great way to start. And our last question, what kind of homework does she do outside of school?
She is often asked to read and write a summary of different stories that she reads.
And the very last one for now, how does grammar help her with learning the language?
She started learning the grammar, and that helped her start speaking more accurately. So now let's move on to our grammar section, where we will discuss relative pronouns.
ახლა კი გადავიდეთ გრამატიკის ნაწილზე. გრამატიკის ამ ნაწილში ჩვენ უნდა განვიხილოთ მიმართებითი ნაცვალსახელები.
So, relative pronouns, whom, who, which, whose, that, introduce relative clauses. A relative clause is a part of a sentence that cannot exist independently. Begins with a relative pronoun and describes a noun that comes before it. For example, she started learning grammar, which helps her speak more accurately.
მიმართებითი ნაცვალსახელები who, whom, that, which and whose გამოიყენება მიმართებითი დამოკიდებული წინადადების წარსადგენად. დამოკიდებული წინადადების ისეთი ნაწილია, რომელიც დამოუკიდებლად ვერ არსებობს, იწყება მიმართებითი ნაცვალსახელით და აღწერს არსებით სახელს, რომელიც მას წინ უსწრებს.
And relative pronouns, we use who, that to refer to people. We use which, that to refer to objects or animals. For example, I know a friend who is a librarian. And the dog which that ran away is my father's.
ჩვენ გამოვიყენებთ who that მიმართებით ნაცვალსახელებს, როდესაც ვსაუბრობთ ადამიანებზე, ხოლო which that მიმართებით ნაცვალსახელებს, როდესაც ვსაუბრობთ ცხოველებზე ან საგნებზე.
And who, which, that cannot be omitted if it is the subject of the relative clause. That is, when there is not a noun or subject pronoun between the relative pronoun and the verb. For example, I know a girl, she is a teacher. I know a girl who that is a teacher. The relative pronoun is a subject.
Who, which, that მიმართებითი ნაცვალსახელებს ვერ გამოვტოვებთ თუ ისინი წარმოადგენენ წინადადების სუბიექტს. ანუ, როდესაც არ არსებობს არსებითი სახელი ან პირის ნაცვალსახელი მიმართებით ნაცვალსახელსა და ზმნას შორის.
And who, which, that can be omitted when it is the object of the relative clause. That is, when there is a noun or a subject, pronoun, and the verb. We can use whom instead of who when it is the object of the relative clause. Whom is not often used in everyday English.
Who, which, that მიმართებით ნაცვალსახელები შეიძლება რომ გამოვტოვოთ თუ ისინი წარმოადგენენ დამოკიდებულ წინადადებაში ობიექტს. ანუ, როდესაც წინადადებაში წარმოდგენილია არსებითი სახელი, პირის ნაცვალსახელი და ზმნა. ჩვენ შეგვიძლია გამოვიყენოთ whom, whose ნაცვლად, როდესაც whom წარმოადგენს დამოკიდებული წინადადების ობიექტს. თუმცა აქვე უნდა აღვნიშნოთ, რომ whom ხშირად სასაუბრო ინგლისურში არ გამოიყენება. მაგალითად, I gave the book to a man I had met him before. I gave the book to a man whom, that I met before.
And we use whose instead of possessive adjectives, my, your, his, etc., with people, objects, and animals in order to show possession. For example, that's the cat. Its owner lives next to me. That's the cat whose owner lives next to me.
ჩვენ გამოვიყენებთ მიმართებით ნაცვალსახელ whose კუთვნილებითი ზედსართავის სახელების, მაგალითად my, your, his და ასე შემდეგ მაგიერ, თუ გვინდა ვაჩვენოთ კუთვნილება.
And we can use which to refer to a whole clause. He lent me his book. This was generous of him. He lent me his book, which was generous of him.
ჩვენ შეგვიძლია გამოვიყენოთ მიმართებითი ნაცვალსახელი which, როდესაც გვინდა მივუთითოთ მთელი წინადადება.
And a relative pronoun is not used with another pronoun. I, you, me, him, etc. Know a girl who works as a teacher. Not I know a girl who works as a teacher.
მიმართებითი ნაცვალსახელები არ გამოიყენება სხვა ნაცვალსახელებთან ერთად. მოდით ახლა ერთად შევაჯამოთ მიმართებითი ნაცვალსახელების გამოყენება. როგორც ვთქვით, who და that მიემართება ადამიანებს, როდესაც ისინი წარმოადგენენ სუბიექტს წინადადებაში, მათ ჩვენ ვერ გამოვტოვებთ. Who, whom, that ასევე მიემართება ადამიანებს, როდესაც ისინი წარმოადგენენ დამოკიდებულ წინადადებაში ობიექტს, შეიძლება მათი გამოტოვება წინადადებიდან. Which და that მიემართება საგნებს ან ცხოველებს, whose მიემართება ადამიანებს, ობიექტებს ან ცხოველებს და ისინი წარმოადგენენ კუთვნილებას.
So now let's move on to our grammar exercise and fill in the gaps with who, which, that, or whose.
ახლა კი გადავიდეთ გრამატიკის სავარჯიშოზე. ამ სავარჯიშოსთვის ჩვენ უნდა ჩავსვათ გამოტოვებულ ადგილებში შემდეგი სიტყვები: who, which, and that, and whose.
So, Sophie, what is the name of the woman blank became the first female prime minister of Britain?
I think we need here who. What is the name of the woman who became the first female prime minister of Britain?
Fantastic. And what is the name of the artist blank most famous painting is The Scream?
So I think because this word should show some possession, it should be the word whose. What is the name of the artist whose most famous painting is The Scream?
And next, what is the name of the river blank flows through Tbilisi?
What is the name of the river which or that flows through Tbilisi?
Great. And what is the name of the actor blank played in the film Harry Potter?
What is the name of the actor who played in the film Harry Potter?
And for this one, what is the animal blank has a long neck?
What is an animal that has a long neck?
So now let's go over the summary of today's lesson.
ახლა კი მოდით ერთად შევაჯამოთ დღევანდელი გაკვეთილი.
So for today, we had the vocabulary, and today was a little bit different. So first, we talked about the countries, the
Nationalities.
and the languages of those countries.
Do you remember which countries we've discussed?
Oh, we discussed like Brazil.
True. What was the language for that one?
Oh, the language was Portuguese.
You're absolutely right. We had also Netherlands.
Yes, and what was the nationality of Netherlands?
It was Dutch,
Oh, great.
as well as the language.
Oh, perfectly right. And we also had Japan.
It was Japanese. That was a bit easier, I think.
A nice, easy one.
Yeah.
And we also had Austria.
True. Austrian and German. And what was the most difficult one?
Oh, I think it was probably Switzerland.
You're absolutely right, because they have 4 instead of 1.
Exactly. I remember their nationality is Swiss, but what was the languages?
I think the languages were Romansh, we had Italian, we had French and German.
Exactly right. Great job. And then we also had our vocabulary words where we discussed things about language in general, like fluency,
Accent
and mother tongue,
and foreign languages.
and
Dialect. That's right.
and a couple others.
And then we read a text about how Anna learned English. So I think that you can also use some of these strategies that Anna used for her learning experience.
I think you're definitely right, like reading books in English,
Yes.
practicing grammar,
Watching English TV shows.
definitely, and making lists of words so you learn new words to maybe even make stories like Anna.
Very true. And finally, we talked about grammar, about relative pronouns.
We did.
And now it's time to move to everyone's favorite, homework.
We want you to write a short paragraph about how you learn languages in your country.
საშინაო დავალებად, ჩვენ გვინდა რომ დაწეროთ მოკლე აბზაცი და აღწეროთ, როგორ სწავლობთ ენებს თქვენს ქვეყანაში.
And please send your homework to the address on the screen.
თუ შეიძლება გამოაგზავნეთ თქვენი დავალებები ეკრანზე მოცემულ მისამართზე.
And I think that's all we have time for today.
Absolutely right. We forgot to say that they will see the sample of the homework on the address.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.